All right, go ahead and call this meeting in order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Arnold.
Here.
Alderman Bass.
Here.
Here.
Alderman Knox.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Skinner.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Okay, next item, not seeing Pastor Williams, we'll move on to Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman Skinner.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is the approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
Seeing no proclamations, and move on to public comment. We ask the citizens come forward to the podium and microphone, and please address the board. We do have a 3-minute time limit that can be extended, and Teresa has the remote, correct? All right, so you're going with your timer again? All right.
I signed back there.
Okay,
That's perfect.
that works.
I'm Janice Brill, 1035 Ephraim. I come before you to ask about the money allocated for the 2 new police officers. It's been 5 months, I think, since that money was allocated. And I wondered if there had been any movement toward that. We need those officers badly. And maybe some report or progress report or something could let us know the state of the employment of these 2 police officers. I come to most council meetings. I haven't seen any new person sworn in, so I was just wondering. Thank you.
I believe the hiring process is still ongoing.
Yeah, it is open, and we have hired, this year?
Yeah.
3? I think 3 new officers this year. And
Well,
No, that
filling ones that are leaving.
filling, yeah. So we
can't
it's still
keep caught
posted
up,
right
yeah.
now. We just reposted, I guess, and sent everything out last week again. No, we are trying to fill them. We have not been able to.
Okay. Anyone else wish to address the board? All right. So now move on to consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Yeah, motion from Alderman Skinner to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. See no previous business, new business, presentations, public hearings, or resolutions. We'll move on to ordinances.
Bill number B22-27. This is an ordinance amending section 700.070 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, pertaining to the disconnection in the event of delinquency, deposits for reconnection, and delinquent bill in general.
Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of B 22-27 and approve it as ordinance 2399.
I have a motion from Alderman Knox to approve Bill B 22-27 for its second reading, making ordinance 2399. Do I have a second?
Second.
Cleaver, I know. Everyone's down on that side. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say roll call.
Alderman Arnold.
Yes.
Alderman Bass.
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Knox.
Yes.
Alderman Mills.
Yes.
Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
Next is Bill number B22-28. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, amending section 105.060 of the Municipal Code regarding ward boundaries.
Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B22-28 and bring it back for a second reading by title only at our next regular session.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman Mills to approve Bill B 22-28 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, as you're all well aware, in 2020, It was the year of the census, and we have since got the data back that shows where our population is at. And as you know, we are split into 3 wards, and we are by state statute supposed to make those wards essentially as even as possible, to where the largest and the smallest ward are within 10% of each other. The way it currently sets, Ward 1, using the 2020 census numbers, it's 4,840 people, Ward 2, 3,981 people, and Ward 3, 6,806. Obviously, a lot of our growth over the last 10 or 15 years has been in Ward 3 in the Woodbury's and Rosewood areas, so that ward has grown exponentially compared to Ward 1 and Ward 2. So what we had our GIS person do was take the data that the census put out and try to see how we could change those lines to make them more balanced. So what you have before you is a proposal that would make, with that 2020 number, Ward 1 would be 33.6% of the population, Ward 2, 35%, and Ward 3, 31.4%. So it would be well within that 10% number. With those, Ward 3 would look like the smallest right now. We know that since 2020, obviously there's still been more development in Ward 3, and there's likely to continue to be. So that number will come up a little bit. But basically the change that was made, if you understand how the wards are now, so Ward 1 right now was Snybar Boulevard. If you start at Buckner Tarsney, it was everything south of Snybar Boulevard that comes around to Eagles Parkway and over to Mentor. Ward 2 was from that up to 40 Highway, and Ward 3 was essentially 40 Highway and everything north. So what you have before you, Ward 1, the line would shift north to include, it basically would follow the Blue Branch Creek line and then Farmington Lakes. The other boundaries wouldn't change, so just essentially shifted that boundary up a little bit. Ward 2, instead of 40 Highway being that line, it would be I-70 now is that line. And then Ward 3 would be everything north of I-70. So we thought this was about as clean of a way as you could do it and get the numbers as equal as possible. So that is what you have before you to consider tonight.
Anyone have any questions?
I did a little research on the topic. I thought population was maybe, while it is the guidance on it, that maybe more than just population needs to be considered when looking at the ward lines. What I'm passing down is the data that pulled off Jackson County's election website as to the participation of people voting in elections, and registered number of voters in our community. But over 10 years for the elections, and they only had the information available from 2016 down to the current 2022. The first one up per voter over the past 10 years, you'll see that Ward 1, blue, is significantly higher than everyone in participation in voting. Red or brown, Ward 2 is significantly lower, and then you can see that Ward 3 has with its growth, has started to climb up close to parallel to Ward 1. When you look at the registered voters, you'll see that the Ward 1 and 3 run fairly close up until the last couple of years, and you see a significant jump there with Ward 3 and registered voters. So I think this information needs to be taken into consideration along with the population. I would recommend that we leave that portion that is north of Snybar there between Buckner and in Ward 2. Ward 2 is a situation that majority of the land in that area is commercial or school property or other that doesn't have people living in it and or undeveloped. So yes, it does look larger than the other 2 areas, but it is the one with the depressed situation when it comes to voting and voter registration. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration when looking at the where we want to draw these lines. I know we haven't redrawn these lines for a number of years. I think they've been about where they're at as long as I've been involved with the city. So
2004 was the last time we could tell that they were changed.
2006 7. So it's been a long time, and I don't disagree that maybe there's an adjustment needed there. But I think 2 is the one that needs some help to bring up their numbers for support and recognition in these deals. So I'd offer that amendment to that map.
The, for Ward 2, things that would be included in this now as far as development that's happening right now and in the future that we know about. Besides that, it would bring in all of Valley Hills that would then be part of Ward 2 now, where it was Ward 3 currently. You've got the area around Snybar and
And I agree with that area being brought into 2.
Okay.
I just don't think we should take this out of 2 because you're basically doing a land swap for them, and it's really not gonna see a significant increase if you take this away from them and give them this. They're gonna still be underrepresented as far as, their voters for involvement and so forth.
Is it based off population or registered voters?
yeah, the emphasis on population, not just voting population.
The law doesn't factor in registered voters, right?
Yeah, so it actually, not that it affects us as much, but even when you look at children, homeless, illegal immigrants, others who might not be able to vote, like incarcerated, like all of that counts towards the totals.
I don't think that that little change would make that big of a difference and get you outside of that 10%. Guidance there without, having the data that you had available to look at that.
So you said Ward 2, with this proposal is what, 35%?
Yeah, it would
What- and
actually,
what was
right
Ward
now, it
1?
would be the biggest, 33.6.
We don't know, doing the math, what it would change.
Because the area there that you're adding to Ward 1 doesn't have a significant population in that area because a lot of it's undeveloped.
Other than the city-owned property there, that the Valley subdivision would be included in that
Right.
now.
We also have to factor in how many people are moving in with the new apartments that we approved into Ward 2.
Well, that's a give me down the road. We'll get into in the next census.
We do a census every 10 years.
Mhm.
Just trying to keep it where it's, one ward doesn't outweigh another ward and so forth.
Well, to me, it's up to the citizens. Obviously, we move these lines, they're gonna have 35% population. It's up to them to get out and vote. You can't make lines based on who votes and who doesn't vote. That's how I see it.
They do that at the state level all the time.
Well, the census and how our maps are supposed to be drawn are on by population though, correct? By
Well, yeah, before you,
population.
yes, it's population, not
Yeah,
voting, not just the voting population.
yeah.
It's just interesting that that's the way it worked out. I just thought it would be prudent to look at those information and take it into consideration if that's not what the board wants to do.
Any additional discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign.
No.
I have one. Okay, that's it for ordinances. Next up, city attorney's report.
Nothing, Mayor.
Next up, city administrator staff reports.
For the first time in a long time, we don't have anything.
Okay, moving on. All right, next up, board of alderman reports and comments. Alderman Arnold.
Ms. Brill brought up that question about the 2 officers that we're supposed to be adding this year, and then we're gonna add another 2 next year.
Mm-mm.
It's
It's still those, yeah,
the same two, yeah.
yeah.
You
we're
and
just
I
try-
had that we were adding another 2 next year.
No. Mm-mm.
That's just a continuation or carry over the 2 that we haven't.
Mm. Yeah, we would like to do it now. Like I said, we've got it posted now and,
Posted pretty much all year, hasn't it?
mhm.
That just clarifies my misunderstanding.
Yep.
Just how many officers we were looking at here. Okay, thank you, that's all.
Okay. Alderman Mills.
Nothing at this time.
All right, Alderman Bass.
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Skinner.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Alderman Knox.
I have nothing.
Alderman Cleaver.
Nothing tonight?
Okay. Next up, mayor's report. I guess I won't have a 45-minute report tonight because everyone seems to get out of here or something. So I have nothing to report, and I do not believe we have a need for an executive session, correct?
We do not.
All right, so unless someone has anything else, we'll adjourn.